I mean, it'd be like if a boxer got in the ring and said he can never win, he's the underdog, and he gets up there and in 2 or 3 rounds knocks the other guy out. They're like, well, that discredits this fighter. That discredits his this entire arena and this entire boxing system. It'd be like if a team won the Super Bowl and they said, well, this discredits the NFL forever. That dirty team that won the Super Bowl, they've discredited everything. Coming from behind and winning, something must be wrong. I mean, this is the mind game. And so Iowans are like, oh my gosh, it's all over talk radio, all over the news. It's the talking point. Don't vote for Ron Paul because if he wins, it discredits Iowa and our pride. Don't do it. Be trendy. Vote for a good globalist. Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich. All the other candidates have fallen because people learn who they are. Ron Paul, everybody knows who he is. And so the establishment Republicans that vote for the bailouts and the open borders and everything else, all this garbage, who voted for the TSA to grab your wife's breast and stick their hand down your pants and put you in microwave ovens. These globalist traitors bought and paid for chicken feed think that we're so weak-minded and think Iowans are so weak-minded. I mean, listen to this. Will Ron Paul kill the Caucasus? Politico. Well, I tell you, Gary Allen, a true patriot's son, started Politico. Gary Allen, who wrote None Dare Call Conspiracy, and he is and friends with Ron Paul. They've got to be ashamed of what looking down from heaven what his son has done with Politico. It is such a nasty establishment rag. It makes me want to throw up. I know there's a few good reporters there that I've talked to off record, but their Ron Paul savaging is just disgusting. The alarms are sounding in Iowa. Conservatives? Oh, conservatives, yes. You mean rhino globalist. And Republican elites in the state are divided over who to support for the GOP nomination. But they almost uniformly express concern over the prospect that Ron Paul and his army of activist supporters may capture the state's 2012 nomination contest, an outcome many fear would do irreparable harm to the future role of the first in the nation caucuses. The spin rooms, the bar rooms, and the online forums, the what to do about Ron Paul conversation has become pervasive as polls show him on or near the top just weeks before the January 3rd vote. Paul poses an existential threat to the state's cherished kickoff status. Oh, look what he did in the punch bowl. He went out and fought with ideas and is winning. It's so horrible. Oh, my gosh, say these Republicans, because he has little chance to win. Again, that mind control lie. Again, normally he'd be winning. They say, well, that's the leader. Oh, nomination. But no, he can't win. He's ruining it. So they go on to say, Iowa will never be the same. It'll be hated. No, Iowa will be known as projecting Ron Paul into the #1 slot. Stay with us. Stay with us. Oh, the system has gone into absolute panic mode and is talking to the people of Iowa like they're children. Oh, don't vote for that Ron Paul. You'll be discredited. Oh, my gosh, that Ron Paul wrote that AIDS might have been manufactured to kill black people. And you know why he wrote that in his newsletter? It's because he doesn't like black people. Yes, and Ron, his son worships Aqua Buddha and kidnaps women. Of course, all of that proven wrong. Having people dress up like hayseeds in Kentucky from the Democratic challenger and running around saying racist things. And I've already seen headlines. Ron Paul supporter calls black people monkeys. I saw that as a national news headline yesterday. So you can just go out into the street and randomly find some crazy person and I guess have them say, a crazy person say, Obama wants to eat white babies. And if a crazy person says it, oh, Obama's guilty because the guy said, that Obama should eat white babies. I mean, this is the biggest guilt by association crud that I've ever seen. But that's not working. So now they're going into, oh, my gosh. I mean, think about on the surface of it how asinine it is to have the governor come out and say our caucuses are discredited and Iowa is going to lose its place as the most important political kickoff point in the United States. A central pillar of the political system in this country. He's saying that to terrorize the political process and to engage in dirty tricks. He is introducing that idea and trying to violate, and listen to me carefully, our Republican form of government, trying to tamper with the election with an incredibly dirty trick. In fact, get me Paul Watson on the line. I know Lord Monckton's coming up. I want to get Watson on the line right now, and then I can talk to Kurt Nimmo, Aaron Dykes, Steve, all of them need to get on this. Because looking at this, this really is sabotage. And wait, it gets worse. The anonymous group, which is whoever the government wants to say they are, it's just a honeypot to set people up. Anonymous says that they're going to attack the Caucasus and then gives no reason why. And now the FBI has to come in and oversee the tallying there at the different caucuses as they add it up, because it's an old-fashioned voice vote, but they'll tabulate that, and the government will oversee, I guess, the computer, the calculator, where they add it up. Oh, because the cutout group Anonymous, which is just a domestic term like Al-Qaeda, is this fake Muslim cutout that they can use as a sock puppet to menace people and take their liberties. Now, oh my gosh, the GOP is so concerned, AP reports, Iowa GOP worried by hacker threat to caucus vote. And now, because they've associated Anonymous with all these good causes, and there's good people involved in it who took the bait, just like Occupy Wall Street is just this blanket cutout where they can then project, the establishment can, whatever they want onto anybody that's part of that diverse group who arrives. It's kind of like they say, well, arrive at this street corner if you want to fight for liberty and freedom. And then the government's waiting there to do something horrible and blame it on you when you show up. That's basically what these anonymous cutouts are. That's what's so dangerous about them. That's why you need to put your John Hancock on the Declaration of Independence and be public. Never run around in the dark in a militia with people saying, we're doing stuff that's illegal. We might have to get ready for war with the government. That's a Fed. You're being led by a Fed who's trying to see if he can trick you to do something or just get enough fake evidence on you to put you on the news. If you want to train as a militia secretly to defend the Republic, that's one thing, but it needs to be people you know and trust, as Ron Paul said in his newsletters a long time ago. And then you don't talk about offensive action, as Ron Paul said. Never shoot first, defend your family. But if you want to be a public organization that's above board and has soup kitchens for people and wears urban camo, a suit and tie, that's the way to go. And tell people train for military readiness to fight criminals, tyrants. The government says get ready for the border to collapse and 30 million more illegals to pour in. They're getting FEMA camps ready, as if the government can do that. It's the old posse system. That's what we need, civil defense. And civil defense is above board and good and wholesome. They got rid of civil defense because they don't like the idea of the citizens working with the legitimate government. They want to have a mercenary, globalist, foreign takeover of this country. And let me tell you, it's up to us to get the word out on what this Iowa governor's doing, trying to discredit our electoral process and then blame it on Ron Paul in a false flag.
We're on the march. The empire's on
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're here live, back Sundays 4 to 6 live. Okay, we're going to be joined in just a moment by Lord Christopher Monckton via video Skype. He joined us last week from Durban, South Africa, and helped circulate the draft of the new global treaty the UN's trying to get that is a death sentence for over 1 billion people, cutting off their resources. It is a eugenics, population reduction cult, post-industrialist group. But as they begin to be routed, they are simply going more and more to what they've called for in The Guardian, green fascism. Not my words, theirs. Arresting, as the White House regulations are, has said, Cass Sunstein, those of us that do not believe in anthropogenic global warming, man-made global warming. But they've simply moved to a new weapons system because that propaganda has been discredited to any climate change being abnormal, when the only thing that is normal is change and a constant state of it, and have shifted to sustainable development, smart growth that was always the next phase. And here in Austin, it's selective enforcement. When you leave as a former mayor here, You then literally take over private banks that control the land you stole. Here in Austin, Texas, they've taken more than 50,000 acres of people's property, on average 5 years after stealing it in an environmental land grab, because they can't get it federally, they just do it locally. And that's what Schwarzenegger said 2 years ago in Copenhagen. He said, we'll just go through the governors and the mayors and county commissioners. And they come in, they seize the land, farms, ranches, development zones, and then have their environmental boards remove the restrictions after it's in government trust, and then it's sold to them publicly. I mean, this is crime out in the open. Well, it's what the Chinese are revolting against and taking over major towns and cities in China over the Communist Party taking property and then later giving it to themselves. I mean, it is just brazen criminality. Look, 99% of the people at the mid and high levels of environmentalism are just wicked control freaks who are stealing property. I've been to smart growth conferences. I've talked to them, and I'll say, I know you're just doing this to get property. And when the camera's off, they'll look at me and say, you bet it is, and you're not going to stop us. Now get out of my way. I mean, these are hard. And then they'll be in front of the news going, oh, I'm so liberal. Oh, it's for the earth. But behind the scenes, they're like, shut up, Jones. I mean, they're just nasty, nasty people. And when you see them laughing at you, I mean, I've been in elevators with them before, and I've been at restaurants when they walk over in front of people and say, how's it going, Jones? You're not going to stop us. It's normal to have a government that decides on development and controls society, and that's the way it is. These are, I mean, Lord Monckton has been beat up by police before on video. I mean, this is what they do. I have video later of in California and other areas, people try to speak politely at city council now and are being arrested or threatened with arrest. If they criticize government in any way, they say that is not allowed. Police seize them. So it's happening. But after we talk about this and get a quick update from Lord Monckton, I'm going to get his take because he's also run for high office. He's been in the highest levels, top advisor to Margaret Thatcher, award-winning journalist in his own right. But you know, he stood for high office in Scotland, and they just totally ignored him there. And they've done that blackout with Ron Paul, but it hasn't worked. And so now they're saying if you let him win Iowa, you have discredited the electoral process, which is an attack on the election system. And I've got a report coming out very soon on that, so we'll get his take on that. But I saw a Fox News article that was basically telling us a week later what Monckton had said was going to happen at Rio coming up here. They are openly saying, and they admit here, they will take over development, manufacturing, everything through the rubric of sustainable development, which the EPA says in documents allows them the power to do anything. They're not going to try to argue fake science now. They're just going to say, for the earth or for the trees you can't build. And here in Austin, remember when Lord Monckton, they will now, if a tree is bigger than 10 inches around, up to 15 to 20, they have different variants, and you go to them for the voodoo, they won't let them build 10, 15, 20, 30, 40-story high-rises, which actually, if you believe there's no room, are, quote, sustainable, unless you're an insider. Now, if you pony up and pay them off and give their wives jobs, they're just open crooks, then you can cut down whatever you want. But if you've got ugly, haggard trees and you're offering to plant trees on the roof, doesn't matter. They say no unless you bow to them and pay them whatever they want. And then if they've got a better offer, you're not going to get it anyways. Just like General Electric can build all the new